Hey, I'm Beth Riley, and this is the Artist Spotlight podcast series. And today I have the pleasure of talking to Bryan James. Bryan, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. I can't complain. How are you?
So far, so good. This year is off to a good start.
Yeah, we're not too far into it, so it's good that it's starts off good.
Exactly. For people that don't know the name Bryan James, tell the people what they're missing out on. Tell us about Bryan James.
I don't know if they're missing out on anything. My wife would probably tell you they're not, but just a guy who likes writing songs from life experiences and putting it out there, and anybody that happens to connect to it one way or another is kind of a bonus. I just write because that's how I deal with stuff and kind of throw it out there.
So, how did you get your start in music? Like, when was that, and how did it happen?
My dad was a songwriter. He always was messing around with a guitar and, writing different songs. And he got a couple songs into George Strait and a couple other guys, and never got any cuts that I'm aware of. I think when you're younger, you see stuff that your parents do. If it's something that you kind of take an interest in, you just kind of follow suit a little bit. I've done all kinds of music. I've played in funk bands and rock bands and all kinds of different things, but writing wise, I've always kind of leaned on the country side of things, kind of more life experiences and things like that. It was always a way to cope with whatever was going on, I guess you'd say.
Who would you say that your influences are?
Haggard's hands down my biggest influence. I don't think anybody wrote about life better than Merle did. As I've gotten older, the things that you hear in the songs that he wrote as he got older, you can just kind of equate to it. And I've always kind of said, when you're listening to a song, and you forget that you're listening to it, and then when the song ends, you kind of snap out of wherever you were mentally. That's when you were listening to a good one. And Haggard always kind of did that for me. So
okay, so you got Merle Haggard. Who else would you say? He's your top, and then like your distant second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever, however many.
I've always loved Hank Williams Jr. is a great one. Jamie Johnson's a good one. Music-wise, I still listen to James Brown on a daily basis, which is completely opposite of country music. But I've always liked the groove and funk music and blues. I'm a big, Albert Collins fan, Buddy Guy, Kev Mo. The artist-wise on the country end of it, I think it kind of ends with, Merle and Hank Jr. and Jamie, I would say.
Now, you mentioned Kev Mo, and you know that I met him years ago. He was the very top of my interview list.
Yeah.
Only because I don't think I could get through an interview with Jackson Browne. The Kev Mo was at the very top of my list, and I got that one. Now I don't know what to do.
I don't think Kev Mo gets enough credit. He should be a lot more of a household name than he is. Great artist, great music.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, let's talk about your songwriting a little bit. I'm going to jump into that here in just a minute, but I want to talk. I'm laughing, and you know why. But your debut album was 2016?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure. Somewhere in there.
This New Way's Getting Old.
Yeah, that's the right one. That's the first one.
Okay. There's a song on there called Give a Damn.
Uh-huh.
Skip ahead to 4 years later for Politics or Religion, the album.
Mm-hmm.
The Art of Not Giving a Damn. So what happened in 4 years?
Nothing really happened. Lyrically, the songs in both are kind of, still along the same path, so to speak. Give a Damn on the first album was a kind of a joke. So to speak. We wrote it, we were sitting around having a few beers one night, and, conversations always, come up, and it's kind of like, you always have people that think that no matter what you're doing, that they, they have a better way to do it, and they feel like they should let you know about it. On the first album, Give a Damn kind of came from that aspect where it was just, you can keep your opinion, kind of to yourself. I don't really care. And then The Art of Not Giving a Damn, it was that song there came, a buddy of mine was moving. I was helping him move, and he didn't have his stuff together really. And so I wasn't going to sit there and organize it and stuff for him. I came over to help him move it. And so he had to get out at a certain time, and I'm laying on the couch. And he just kind of looks at me and he's like, you've got this art of not giving a damn thing down pat, don't you? I'm like, well, it is what it is. I'm like, I'm here to help you, but I'm not going to do it for you. I don't care if you get out on time or not. So lyrically, the one's about one direction and the other one's kind of like, all the things that you do or you've been told or, what people are expecting you to do. The art of not giving a damn is a pretty peaceful place to be, really.
It beautifully says, you can shut up or you can sit down.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just one of the, I think, and it comes with age too, a lot of times, but I think, the older that you get, I think it's, if you can get up and kind of look yourself in the mirror and have a smile on your face and you're comfortable with where you are, who gives a damn what anybody else has to say or think or want or do or anything else? And I think it's just maybe a maturation process of, I don't give a damn today from the first album to, now I've got it down to an art form, so to speak.
Now, you had mentioned the older that you get, which reminded me of another song from another album. Maybe I Am.
Mm-hmm.
That goes back with not giving a damn type thing of the older that I get, the less I give a damn.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was younger, as I think most people are when they're younger, there's certain things that, will kind of set you off or, get you to the point where you're ready to swing on somebody or whatnot. And, it used to be years ago kind of the way I grew up and the people I grew up around, it was like, if you called me an asshole, we were going to fight. And, that's just how it was, win or lose, and I lost plenty, but that's how it was going to go. And, and then as you get older, you realize win or lose, fighting hurts, and if you're over the age of 18, good chance one of you is going to jail, and jail's not a fun place to be. And so it was like, the last time somebody called me an asshole instead of wanting to fight, it was just kind of, well, maybe I am. And so it was, that's kind of where that song came from. And that's a fun one because you get people come up to you all the time and talk about it. And like, you wrote that song about me, and I'm like, there's a little bit of that in all of us at some point. It just gets to the point where you decide that it's more where you shrug your shoulders and go, if that's your opinion, cool. Here's where you can put it.
You're entitled to your wrong opinion if you would like it.
Well, the phrase, they say everybody's entitled to their opinion. They're also entitled for it to be wrong.
Yeah.
but I don't discredit anybody's right to have an opinion. So they're well within their rights to have it. So there it is.
Now, one song I have to talk about only because it's my favorite from your entire song collection, but it's also the one that I don't remember how many shows I had done up until that point, but it was the first show that I did that my dad was like, who is this guy?
That's cool.
So it was the song that made my dad a fan as well, I guess, and it was No Nice Way to Say It.
Yeah.
So, I could talk about a few parts of that one, but I think I'll stick with the one that my dad first talked about, and that was the part where you say, no nice way to say it, you people went lost your mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he likes that part.
Yeah, and that's one of the, I wrote a song years prior to that called Good Morning America. I don't get too political and stuff. Again, all these songs I write for myself, because I feel like I've got something that I need to get off my chest or my shoulders or something I've gone through or seen or somebody I know has gone through, and it affects you, on a personal level. Unfortunately for me, I'm not one of those guys that somebody can just throw a topic at and I can write about it. I know guys that can, and I'm envious of that at times. That song there, I just got to the point where it's like I was so tired of listening to everybody bitch and complain about everything. There has never been a time in the history of the world anywhere where everybody has gotten along, and there never will be. I mean, people are different. We have different opinions. We have different thought processes. We have different, all of these things. And for people to try to create some kind of false, utopia where everybody's going to get along and think the same way is just insane. When they gave out, the line in there, it used to mean, a trophy meant you did something well, not just because you showed your face. These days, it's hard to tell. I mean, that literally came from my kids being at a track meet. They gave out trophies to everybody, and I didn't even tell my kids anything. And well, they weren't trophies for everybody. They got ribbons. One of my kids went and threw it straight in the garbage can. And I didn't even say anything to her about it. She was like, I didn't place. I don't want this thing. I know I was here. It got me thinking, and it's like, losing is supposed to suck. It's supposed to feel bad. And if it means enough to you, you'll go home and you'll work on that. You'll practice whatever it is that you lost at for the goal to be to get one of those trophies. When you get one of those trophies, you're supposed to feel good about yourself because you accomplished something that everybody else below you did not. And it's because you put the effort in and you put the time and the work in and you sacrificed, watching TV or playing video games or whatever it is you're doing. And you put your time and your effort into that, and that's your reward. And to minimize that because you don't want to make other people feel bad because they weren't good enough to get one, to me is stupid. And so that's just a part of it, it's where like all these things to where everybody is so afraid to offend anyone anymore, that it's like you have to dial it back. To me, it just makes no sense. And I think people, flat lost their minds, one, trying to force it to go that way, and two, to think that it ever will, because it won't. And so, when I finished that song, I knew when I finished it, I was like, this is going to hack some people off. And it has, but it was something that I felt I needed to put down on paper, and so I did.
To those people, here's to the art of not giving a damn.
Pretty much. I mean, that's pretty much it, and I've had people ask me about it, and they're like, why would you write something like that? And my response is, why would I not? It's how I feel.
Yeah.
There is a thing that has been forgotten, the ability to agree to disagree, is a lost art form in itself. We're not always going to agree, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that I won't sit down and go have a beer with somebody that I don't agree with. We just agree to disagree. It's fine. It's not a big deal. Nobody's going to die because of it. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and have cancer because we disagreed. It's people are different, and that's just it. But everybody has their own right to think what they want, and you don't have to like it. That's okay.
Life goes on.
That's it. Sunset, sunrise. If you see both, you got it better than a lot of people did,
Is there an artist that you would like to work with in some capacity that you haven't?
I can't say that there's one that sticks out. I mean, I'd give up every instrument I have but one, to sit down with Haggard and just pick his brain for a little bit. There's a guy that has Haggard's old bus that drives around, all over the place. And I'm like, dude, just let me sit in it for like 20 minutes with all the lights off and whatnot, and try to soak up any of that magic that was in there. I'm not a big co-writer, just because of the fact that like when I want to write something, I kind of want to say it how I want to say it. And it's difficult when you get multiple people in a room to have that actually happen. And that's all on me. That's not on anybody else. I wish that I could. And there's been times that it's worked, and there's been times that it's just been, you can tell in the first 5 minutes, that it's like, this isn't going to work. Out of all the songs on all 3 albums, I think I co-wrote 3 of them. I like to be around other artists, like and listen to their stories and their processes and that kind of thing. But as far as like working with them, on material or something like that, I wouldn't say there's anybody out there that I would really love to work with, that I'm like got some kind of goal to get in a room with, so to speak. There's lots of guys I'd love to sit and talk to on all the albums that I've done before we even hit a note. The guys that are playing on it, I make them tell me one road story a piece. From whatever experiences they've had and guys they've played with and things like that. And so I love that stuff. I did get to sit with Haggard's son, Ben, for about an hour. at a festival we were both playing, and listened to him tell stories, about his dad. And what was cool about that was, like, I didn't even bring Merle up. Ben brought him up, and you could see in his eyes, like how much he missed him and how much, like, love and respect he had for how good his dad was. And that to me was like, I could have not even played the festival at that point. I could have packed my stuff and gone home. That was cool. I mean, as far as artists I'd want to, like, quote unquote work with, I mean, I can't say I've ever really had them.
Well, you and TJ Hernandez, got to talk about him.
Yep.
And I have to talk about Dallas Moore, and I have to talk about Lyman Ellerman. Get all four of y'all in the same room.
I'd be up for that in a heartbeat. I love those guys. I don't think I've met Lyman in person. I've talked to him a couple of times. Love Dallas. I mean, Dallas is probably the most laid back, good dude you will ever run into. That guy treats everybody the same, no matter, if he knows you or not. It's amazing to watch Dallas work a room. TJ's a good friend of mine. I mean, I've written a couple songs with TJ. He put a couple of them on his albums. And he's just a fun guy to be around. Lyman's a great songwriter. Know Lyman through Jeb.
Yeah.
I don't believe I've had the pleasure of being in the same room with Lyman. But I would enjoy that. That would be a good time.
I'm putting it out there. All four of y'all. There you go.
I'd be up for it.
Yeah.
No doubt.
You need to make that happen. I don't care who does it. Dallas would probably be the one to do it, if not Jeb.
Yeah, well, me and Dallas and TJ have all been in the same room together at once.
Yeah, just throw in that fourth person.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, as far as someone that inspires you on a daily basis, is there anyone like that?
My kids. And I know that's a cliche answer, but they're at the age now where I can fully remember what was going through my head when I was their age. Like, my oldest daughter is 17. Twins that are 13, and it's just cool to see them go through the phases of growing up, what they're going through, the situations they get themselves in, things they think they can get away with, that we've all done, and it's like, you're not getting away with that. I've done that, that kind of stuff. Other than that, I would say that's probably it. Like, I've always been kind of one of those that kind of keeps my head down and just does what I do. I mean, I don't tour, hardly at all right now, just because they're so busy playing travel volleyball. I don't want to miss any of it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I look at it as, you get one chance to be dad. I'm not going to miss that. The tour part of playing music and whatnot will be there when they're done, in high school and all that stuff. And then I'll go, kind of full time after that. But until then, kind of keep my head down, do what I do, try to be around them as much as I can.
So as far as your recording career, do you have any plans on anything coming up?
I've been asked that question a lot over the last couple of years, because it's been a couple of years since I've put anything out.
Yeah.
I have the material to put out. It's just one of those things where it's like, I know I'm not really leaving Florida much. So it's kind of like, if you can't run around on it and go see the people that, that are spending their money to buy it and those kind of things, I don't really see a benefit to them or me, to just pump stuff out for the sake of pumping stuff out. I mean, it's there. I have it. When we get out, because we will leave for, a week or two in between the kids' schedules, and go to different places. Like, I love Riverton, Jeb's place in Illinois. There's a great place in Wisconsin called Boxcars. And I'd love to get Bucks in Nebraska. I mean, I love those places. And you like going up there and seeing those people who have supported you and listened to, your other stuff and stuff like that. But if you can't get out and bring it to people, in person, to me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense just to put something out for the sake of putting something out. So I can't say I have any direct plans to put anything out anytime soon. But who knows? I mean, that could change. Yeah, that could change. I might get a wild hair in another 6 months and I'll go back to Nashville and record it and just put something out,
What my dad wanted me to make sure to tell you, you don't have to get out of Florida. You just have to come closer to Panama City.
Yeah. I think we're doing something somewhere down in there. Something called a Redneck Gala or something. I don't know how close to Panama City it is, but we're going down there a little bit. We stay pretty busy right around here. I mean, we've got pretty lucky with a good amount of spots that just basically book us through the year, and so the schedule and trying to hunt places down to play and everything else is kind of taking care of itself. So we just kind of run that circuit, and if anything really good comes up, like festival wise and that kind of stuff, we'll take off and go do it. Even those things, I'm like, those things are harder to get into if you're not putting out, new material all the time, and you're not out there running around and trying to get on the shows that are out of state and those kind of things. So, but I mean, right now, I'm totally content with what we're doing. I mean, I'd love to get out on the road and do it, but again, it would mess with the kids' schedule, and it's important to me to be, around their, games and stuff like that when they're playing.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he would totally understand that. He was a girl dad and a coach, So.
Oh yeah, so he gets it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just me and my sister, but we both played sports. I played every sport known to man, and she played a couple.
Yeah. No, my dad never missed a game. I played football, basketball, baseball. I mean, I played all kinds of stuff, and he never missed one. So it's important for me to be there too.
So let's get into a couple of fun questions that we typically like to ask. One of them is, if you had the ability to time travel, not back in time, not skipping forward, but go back in time to like a certain decade or year or era, whatever you want to say, is there a certain time that you would want to go back to?
Oh, man, that's an interesting question. I think I would have liked to have been around probably in the mid 60s to mid 70s would have been a cool time to be around. Don't want to go back too much past that. I mean, I would love to go back and see what it was really like back in like the 1400s, 1500s, that kind of stuff. But people didn't live very long back then. Yeah. All kinds of things could kill you back then, So I think I would have liked to have been around at kind of like the height of the rock and roll thing when you had, Zeppelin and all those bands that were really at their heyday. Coming out and Sly and the Family Stone, the Creedence Clearwater. I mean, all that. I would have really liked to have seen that. I think Jimi Hendrix and that kind of stuff back in there, when they were kind of top of the food chain, so to speak.
And the other question is, if you could have 3 to 5 albums with you to take to a desert island, which 3 to 5 albums would you take with you? I
mean, I would take James Brown's greatest hits. I would take Hank Williams Jr.'s greatest hits. I would take Jamie Johnson's double album. And then from there, you could pick any 2 Merle Haggard albums you want, and I'm good.
You were like the quickest one that I've ever talked to about that. Some people have to think. It's like, you can say greatest hits, I'm fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, Hank's greatest hits, was, he's got multiple greatest hits albums. That pretty much really goes through my listening stuff over the course of a week. Now, I'll throw some other things in there. Like I said, I'll throw Albert Collins on there. I'll throw Buddy Guy, Kebmo, those kind of things. I mean, there's not a week that goes by that I don't listen to some of that stuff. But I mean, if you had to pin me down to 5 albums, I mean, yeah, that's what I would take. It would cover pretty much the whole range of emotion that you would go through between those 5.
Since we share the thing of Kebmo, do you have a favorite Kebmo album?
I don't have a favorite Kebmo album, but my favorite song he did is I Should've. Yeah, that's my favorite Kebmo tune.
I like The Old Me better.
Yep, that's a great one too.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
Yep, that's a great one. Yeah, what's funny too is like my favorite song is in a completely different area. Like my favorite song has always been Bruce Hornsby's "That's Just the Way It Is."
Yeah.
And people ask me like, "Oh, what's your favorite song?" And I'll throw that out there, and they kind of look at me and like, "Wow, it's not a Junior song or a James Brown song or a Haggard song or whatever." Like, no, it's always been that one.
That's just the way it is.
Yep.
All right. So for the people that now know about you that maybe didn't before, do you have like social media, website, any of that fun stuff that they could check out?
My website's Bryan James website, Bryan, and jameswebsite.com. And you can find all my socials right off of that, as well as a calendar and some other fun stuff on there.
Well, Bryan, it has been a pleasure, and best of luck to you and your kids, of course.
I appreciate it. Thank you.